Hello guys, welcome to my Learning Python series. This series will be for absolute beginners and I will be going over basic Python syntax. For example, in this video I'll be going over print statements and variable assignments, and I will be going over input statements and assigning inputs to variables. And I will give you an example of what we will be able to do by the end of this series. So if I go to my P folder and run version 1. So we will be able to write programs like this, and this program basically reads a CSV file, which is a comma separated values file of all the beaches inside the UK with their quality rating. So all the beaches have been tested from for their quality rating of water, and they have been given a value from 1 to 4, 1 being the best, 4 being the worst. And if a beach hasn't been tested, it would be given a 5. So this program would get the name of the file, read it in, calculate the average, open it and read all the values in, calculate the average rating, and then display all the beaches of a specific rating that the user has inputted. So we'll be able to write all of this by the end of the series, and this is the last video. It is a class project, quote unquote. So anyway, let's start. So make a new file, and let's just save it as tutorial.py, and let's run the C and the command prompt, and just so we get ready. cd to python, cd to tutorial, series. And first thing I will start with is the classic print hello world. So everything in Python is small lettered. We don't have capital letters. So if we just write the word print, and you see the kite module here is working. So after you write the word print, it doesn't matter if you have a space or if you don't have a space, just open the parentheses and put quotation mark or apostrophes. It doesn't matter if it's quotation marks or apostrophes. What matters is what you started with is what you finish with. So you can't start with an apostrophe and finish with a quotation mark. That doesn't work. So you have to start with an apostrophe and finish with an apostrophe. And if you want to mention a specific thing, you start with the other thing. So you start with the apostrophe and the anyway. And after you started the apostrophes or quotation marks, depending on your preference, you just type whatever you want to print out. In our case, it's hello world, and you save the file. You have to save it, and you go to the command prompt. You guys can see, and you run the Python tutorial.py, and it printed hello world. So that works. Second thing I'll be going over is assigning variables. So in Python there are multiple data types, of course. So we have, let's just assign a variable. So to assign a variable, you just put the variable name. In my case, it will be x because, well, it's just an unknown variable. And you put equal sign. It's only one equal sign. And you put a number or a string. String is just a combination of letters. So if to put a string, you just put apostrophes or quotation marks again, and you put this is a variable. If you want an integer, you just put the integer. So 50, for example, or 50.0, and that's a float value. Float value is just a value that has a decimal point. And there is Boolean, which is true or false or on off. So you just put it true, or equally you just put false. This will be useful later on in our unconditional loops. Conditional loops. But the thing in Python is that you can't put false you have to put false. The F has to be a capital letter, which is super annoying, but hey, that's how Python runs. Anyway, so now we want to assign user input, so we can just say print and ask the user to enter their name, for example, or the age or whatever. So we say please, so be nice, enter your name and colon and space, just to make it a bit neater, and you start a new line. So the thing with Python is that you don't have semicolons, so you might see in Java or C++ or any of the C languages really, that, or JavaScript for that matter, that you finish with a semicolon, and that's a sign that you finished the line. We don't do that here. We start a new line, and once I get more in depth, like for functions and while loops and for loops, and if statements, there's a different indentation level, and I will be going over all of that. So we printed the statement. So if we want to just see what that does, we run the command and it gives me just this. I cannot enter anything yet. So I would just say input, and that would allow me to enter a thing. So I would say this, and you see the program hasn't ended yet. I can still enter stuff. So enter your name, enter my name, and I'm just gonna delete. But the thing is, this hasn't been stored. Yes, I entered it, but I cannot use the name of that person. Like they were able to enter it, but I didn't store it, if that makes sense. So what we're able to do is we can put name equals variable assignment again. In Python, the default variable data type is a string until you say otherwise. So I said please enter your name, and then I put a new line, assign a variable called name to the user input. I can come here and run the program, but ask me for my name. I can put a 0. The program wouldn't give me error because it stored 0 as a string, and that's fine because, well, you can't really go about that. It stores 0 as a string. It considers it a letter because it's a string data type. However, if I go please enter your age, and I still run the program and I put my age as 18, it's not gonna give me an error, although it stored it as string. So what I can do is I can go int, which stands for integer, open bracket, close bracket, or parentheses, and I run the same program and I try to enter a text. So this is a text. It gives me a value error because in the program I asked for an integer, yeah, and I entered the string. So it said invalid literal for integer with base 10. But that means I have to enter a number. If I run the program and I put actually 18, it's just gonna work fine. So this is just for input validation if you're working on a login details, etc. So I can also do float, and if I enter 18, it would store it as 18.0, just to make it a float value. Yeah, I stored it over here, but if you think about it, this doesn't look very nice. If I run the program again, I am typing in a new line, and that isn't entirely user friendly, I guess. It doesn't look nice. So first off, just to make sure that this is working, we can just go print and type the variable name. I guess I'm still storing it as name. So enter your name, and it would print the variable name. So just to make it look a bit nicer, what I can do is just get rid of all of this and say name equals input. I can just skip the whole print part, add parentheses inside the add apostrophes inside the parentheses of input, and say, well, enter your name over here. And what this does is allows me to type in the same line, and that just looks cleaner in my opinion. So this looks cleaner. Again, in Python you have, well, in some stuff you have to end with a parentheses, or if you're calling a function, which this is, you end with parentheses. So if I just type input, Kai tells me that this is a function, and it ends with double parentheses. Just how it works. Equally for print, it's a function, and I have to end with a parentheses. So this has been stored. If I say, please enter your name, and I print the name of that person just to make sure it is working. So, and yes, it printed my name. Another way of doing it is I can say print input. So I can put more than one function in the same line. I can put functions inside of each other. So please enter your name. Let me just so you see the full, and press enter. So basically what this does is that it executes this function, which is a user input function, and then it executes this function because this is the parent function and this is the child function. These are computing terminologies. So basically this, in the hierarchy of this code, this function is over this function. To understand this better, let's just run the program. It asked me for my name, and I input my name, and it printed it at the same time because I had print over here. However, if I print name, print the variable name, let's see what this does. So my name is Ahmed, and it gave me none because it printed it, but it didn't store it. So Python is considering the variable name to be a null value or an empty variable because it got the user input, it printed it, but it never stored it because you cannot store a print statement. So that's why we do name equals input, and then we put this statement. So if I keep this and I put on, it still print the name, but now the value is stored. It didn't just magically disappear or give me a null variable. That's why this is better. I'm not sure if you noticed this, but there is an extra bracket over here and an extra bracket over here. In Python, as long as you have the same amount of brackets on each side, so we have two brackets over here, we have two brackets over here, and they are used correctly, they don't matter. So what I mean is, for input you have to have double parentheses on the sides to execute the function. If you have double parentheses on the outside, this is outside the function. As long as I have, like, if I have two more parentheses over here, I need to add two more parentheses over here, and this wouldn't give me an error. It's kind of weird, but hey, it's easier for me to code, so I'm not going to ask. So this would still work because we have the opening bracket and the closing bracket. Okay, so let me just zoom in again. So we stored the name of the person, yeah? So I'm just gonna copy this and paste it again and store another variable called age. I'm so sorry, OCD. Age. Okay, yeah, this is fine. And if I go to the command prompt, run this program. Wait. Okay, if sorry about that. If I go to the command prompt and run the same file, tutorial.py, not if I misspell. It asks me for my name, I input my name. It asks me for my age, I input my age. And yeah, these values are now stored. So we want to print them, but we want to print them both at the same time. So what I can do is I can go print, and I can put this quotation mark or apostrophes if you wish, and say my name is, and then I leave a space because Python doesn't add automatic spaces before the variable. I leave the apostrophe, I put a comma, and then I put the variable. I put another comma, and then I just add the double apostrophes again, and say, no, you see over here, because I added the variable and that variable is a string, it would leave a space after the variable, so I don't have to leave a space over here, and be like, and my age is, leave a space, comma, age. Just so you guys see the full code. And if I go over here, run the program, my name is Ahmed, my age is 18, and it would print my name is Ahmed and my age is 18. And this is just that's how it works. And I think we have finished for today. This is everything about print statements and input statements, and how to use them correctly, and how to print multiple variables in the same print statement. Next videos will be going over a little bit more complicated stuff, like if statements. I think I'll be going over. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.